Yeah.
of them, I don't know.
I just
So
like
Mark-
to, because
We need them back in.
Okay. I think that's what it.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Monongalia County Board of Education. It's October 22nd at 5 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. Would the lacrosse team honor us in starting the pledge?
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna stop.
Nice job, by the way. Okay, I'm going to move our agenda around a little bit. Down on number 6, change order, we're going to move it up to this point in time because of a time constraint with the people we have. So, Dr. Campbell, will you roll through that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. We do have a change order for our job at North Elementary, the stair tower and the connector that we're really close to finishing up, if we're not finished already. But this is change order number 3. I will recommend that the board approve change order number 3 as presented to you this evening.
Can we entertain a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
And
Okay,
we do
discussion.
have our friends here from Alpha, if they wouldn't mind just explaining to the board what's included in the change order. And we need you to go to the podium so we can be recorded. Right there, Rebecca. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Well, it's recorded. It won't come out through.
Oh, okay. So we have a few items on the change order. The first one was to increase the size of an existing hallway frame between the red building and the connector. We were going to leave in place a single hallway during construction. The owner, essentially, the school, requested it be open all the way. So that was a change from a single doorway to a double doorway. We had to install 2 pipe bollards in front of a post indicator valve, which is to protect the fire department connection that was placed out in the parking lot. We installed a channel drain, a 5-inch channel drain, to make sure we didn't have any ice collecting in front of any of the doors leading from the connector or to the red building. I call the red building, it's the music and art building. There was a washer and dryer in the old art room. We were relocating that within the connector area, and nobody knew that the dryer had never been hooked up and vented to the exterior of the building. So we had to take that through to the roof. And then we had to do some additional fire alarm work as requested by the fire marshal on one of his final inspections. Things had been signaling right throughout. The benefit of that is that the panel that was installed is now there that can be connected, and with future what do you call them, detectors in place. Yeah, the existing detectors in place can now be tied to that without any upgrade having to occur at the fire alarm panel. So it's large enough to accommodate future changes to the existing building and the pre-K and the music and art building. And this was required so that we could get our certificate of occupancy. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Anything else anybody else wants to add to it, or are we good?
What's the timeline for that completion?
Actually, it had to be completed before school opened. It was inspected and finished the day before school opened.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of an emergency. There was a lot
So
of
these are already done, this is.
Yes, they are already done, and I would say all of them except the last one, number 13, had received preliminary investigation and approval as far as the cost and whether or not it was a necessary change within the design team, and the approval of the facilities director at the time. It's just that we don't like to submit a change order for $3,000 and another one for $2,000. So we try to lump all of those together. So that's, as far as I know, this is the last change order. The elevator came October the 11th, and it's in. We're waiting for the final elevator inspection. And the tile is, that should be done this week. Yeah, that should be completed. They've been doing that work at night. So the school has not been impacted in any way.
I know this was such a squeeze time frame.
Yeah.
Getting it all done before school started and all
Yes.
of that, so it's worked out very well. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have delegations. Now we'll read a statement here that we read before all delegations, so everybody's on the same page. Speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect of the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation and invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you are about to say, we urge you to consult your legal advisor. Monongalia County School Board Policy 0169. Public participation in board meetings states that you may speak for no more than 5 minutes. If there are 12 or fewer delegations, after 12 delegations, the amount of time you may speak will be determined by taking the number of delegations and dividing it by 60 minutes. Public comment is not a time for open dialogue among the board members and the speaker. The board members will not answer a question posed to them from a speaker or comment on a speaker's concern. In short, there will be no verbal interaction from the board members or during or after the speaker's comments. So, with the legality of that out of the way, first one we have signed up is Jennifer Ben.
My name is Jennifer Ben, and I represent the parents of the UHS girls lacrosse team, your current 2024 state champions, which I'm very proud of. I've been with the girls lacrosse team with 2 of my daughters over 8 years. This summer, after we won the state championship, we were informed that the UHS administration had decided not to rehire our main coach, Scott Stewart. He's the head coach, and last year was his first year as the head coach. In response to that news, well, that came as a big surprise to us. And in response to that news, the parents composed a letter and sent it to Mrs. Green and Mr. Bailey regarding the matter and how we felt about, not rehiring the coach. It was signed by all the lacrosse parents and delivered towards the beginning of the school year. I have a copy of this letter I want to give to you guys. I don't want to read it to you. You can read it, and my daughter's going to speak about the coach. But I wanted to make sure that you had a copy of what was submitted to them, the administration, before you ruled on today's decision on who to hire as the new or the continuing UHS lacrosse coach. Unfortunately, after we submitted the letter, we didn't have any response from the administration about how we felt about the coach and why we wanted him to be rehired. So I guess today I'm bringing you a copy of the letter so you guys can read it, and then my daughter's going to talk about her experience with UHS lacrosse. So I ask you that you read and consider our request before deciding on the position of the girls UHS lacrosse coach in the upcoming spring season. So am I allowed to bring you a copy of this letter? I only made one. I should have made more.
That's okay, we can pass it.
And then Mrs. Grain and the assistant BAD has a copy of the letter with all the signatures of the parents on it as well.
We won't be able to respond to any of it, but.
Okay, so that's who has it. I don't
Okay.
have that.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Benton.
Thank you.
Reset the clock. Jillian? Yeah.
I stared at that 5 minutes and went, what's that for?
Hi, I'm Jillian. As my mom said, I've been with University Lacrosse for the past 3 years, and I'm just going to talk about my experience with Coach Scott. So, this past season, Coach Stewart did something that had not been accomplished in UHS women's lacrosse history in over 10 years. He led us to win a state championship. I believe that there is no one else as capable of helping us to get back to the state championship. Coach Stewart is extremely involved in lacrosse in West Virginia. He's on the governing board of the West Virginia Scholastic Lacrosse Association. He's a founding member of the local club lacrosse team, Mountain State Lacrosse, and has personal connections to almost every lacrosse coach in the state. He's also helped to grow lacrosse, the UHS lacrosse program as well. Since he's been on staff, the team has been third in the state in 2021, second in the state in 2022, and the state championship in 2023. During the 2022 season, his defense was awarded best in the state. He's had over 20 players selected as first-team All-State and 2 All-Americans during those 3 years. No replacement would even come near to being as successful and well-connected as Coach Stewart. To say that the program has flourished with the help of him would be an understatement. Coach Stewart is someone I look up to. As a coach, he pushes his players to be the best they can. I owe a lot of my success to him, constantly pushing me and showing me that I can be a better player. He knows us as people and as athletes. He knows our strengths, weaknesses, and hardships we have faced. He's a father to 3 girls and knows how to teach and help us not only in lacrosse but also in life. Coach Stewart cares about his players far beyond just athletics. He asks every girl when they walk into that locker room how their day was. He checks on us and makes sure that we're okay. He wants us to be students and people before we even worry about lacrosse. So I'm asking, please reconsider Scott Stewart as the head coach at UHS. He's built a program that should not be taken away from him. Without Coach Stewart, I fear that the program could greatly suffer. Please remember why you're on the board. You are here to do what is best for the students. What is best for us is not taking away a key part of our desire to be a Hawk, which is what the removal of Coach Stewart would do. He's the center of our program, he's part of our family, so please reconsider Scott Stewart for the coaching position. We can't imagine a season without him on the field with us.
Thank you, Jillian. Okay. Next item of business is school performances, student outcomes, and academics. Head Start and the famous Debbie Jones.
I feel like I've just cleared a room. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to take a few minutes of your time just to share with you an overview of the Early Childhood Services Department. I am Debbie Jones and I'm the director. What that encompasses is basically 3 programs. Early Head Start, which services prenatal moms up to children age 3. Head Start, which services children 3 years of age to 5. And then our pre-K, which also services 4 to 5, but we also can work with 3-year-olds that have identified special needs. So we have quite a lot of activity happening in the early childhood world. And tonight I just wanted to share with you just some highlights. I provided you with some history of the program and some things that we do. So tonight what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes, share some highlights with you, and then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now or at a later date or time. So let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. All right, so Early Head Start. As I said, we do work with pregnant moms. We also do a teenage pregnant mom program called TAP. But we service 120 children. Head Start and Early Head Start for the past 8 years has met its full enrollment every month.
So we are doing very well with our student population. We also meet our percentage of special needs that we're required to service. Our performance standards say 10%, but as you can see in early Head Start, we're at 21%, and I think we're at 30% in Head Start, which you'll see here in a minute. So you can look at the numbers, but in addition to providing education to families, and then as we go into the pre-K Head Start world, in the education realm, we also help support families on the social services side. So you can see some of the things that we provide to families, everything from working with families that have an incarcerated individual in their family or in their household, parenting curriculum. We do screenings and we make referrals. We do have a mental health person on each program, so we do offer some mental health support to our families, housing assistance, and we are always available for crisis intervention. Head Start's very similar, except for we service 191 children, and as I said earlier, we're at 30% of our identified children with special needs. We do a lot of data keeping, and that data helps drive our program. So as we are preparing for the upcoming grant, we look to see how many of our children were homeless, how many were we able to help support to find adequate housing, how many are dual language learners, and then again, on the other side of the slide, you can see the services that we provide and the numbers of individuals that are involved in those services right now. Just 2 months ago, the federal government updated the Head Start performance standards. And I think Teresa has provided you a copy of the performance standards. They do not get revised very often, so when they do, it's really important. So in the final rule, these are the big topics that the government is working towards by up to the year 2031. Wage and benefits, that is a really big topic, primarily because a lot of Head Start programs are standalone programs. They're not part of a school system, and they have had such great difficulty keeping staff due to the lower wages that they pay their personnel. So by August 31st, 2031, those standalone centers will have to compensate their staff at the rate comparable to the school system or at an entry-level kindergarten teacher position. What am I trying to say? Income level. Also, health care. A lot of standalone centers do not provide health care and benefits. We are so blessed in Mon County to have the support that we have and the benefits that we have. But again, they're looking at increasing that for all the centers across the United States. Mental health continues to be a big area of concern at the federal level, and so Mon County Schools is ahead of the ball game. I had the desire several years ago to have not only one mental health specialist, but two. So we have a full-time mental health specialist in Head Start and a full-time mental health specialist in Early Head Start. Now they're asking programs to look at this more closely and to try to look at more of a multidisciplinary team approach for our mental health. And then under quality improvements, which is the last large category of changes, they are looking at caseload reductions. We have not had the problems that some programs have had, Some programs have had family service specialists with a caseload assignment of 55 and up. We've never had that. Our average caseload has been 36, and I have a range, and I monitor that our staff do not go above that or below that. But now they've actually put it in writing that Head Start family service specialists can have a caseload of 40. So they also are promoting more safety, lead exposure. We are required to test for lead every 2 years in our water and paint in buildings, and we do very well with that. We have no issues or concerns with that. And we're also required now to identify barriers to enrollment and attendance. Attendance continues to be, an area of concern, and so when we are looking at preschoolers who are identified as chronically absent, missing 25 days a year, we need to now have a specific plan in place to help change that, and we're required to track that and have that documentation. Let's see. The last thing that I wanted just to summarize for you is your responsibilities, and to let you know that you are extremely important to the Head Start program. We actually have several governing bodies. You are our main governing body, but we also have in each Head Start and Early Head Start a parent policy council and committee. So they also play a role in reviewing all that we do, looking at our data, reviewing our grants, approving budgets, and then finally on the state level we also have another governing body known as the Pre-K Core Team. And so whenever we have something that we want to present, we do present that to all of the governing bodies. But this is your main responsibility, to participate and approve the annual grant funding application, to provide financial oversight on a regular basis, provide oversight in Head Start performance standards, and to participate in the federal and state review process. And we get reviewed at least once a year. Most years it's 3 times throughout the year. And as a program, our responsibilities include providing regular program updates. So you'll receive that typically the second meeting of each month from me, making you aware of any monitoring results, any safety concerns. I think you just reviewed our state health and safety report, and you got to see the corrective action plan where we are monitoring that the work that needed done on our playgrounds is completed. Reporting student progress to you, we do that through a school readiness report, and then any information that comes from the Office of Head Start or the secretary, we do attach that in your monthly report. Do you have any questions? Because I know I talked rather quickly.
Anybody have any questions?
I thought you did fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you.
I did have a question on the lead content about, that was within our facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Are you required to, I don't know how to say this, but check the homes from where the children are coming? Is there any, any guidelines there? And secondly, is it required that these children be tested to see if they're coming from an environment that would have lead?
Yes, all of our children, when they enter, we work with the pediatrician to obtain a blood lead level. And if there are concerns, then yes, we work with agencies that will help go into the home and help that family remediate those problems.
So it's not a punitive thing, they just go into the
No,
homes and
no.
help them
No, we want to help and we want to support them. And we do that in so many areas, whether it's making referrals to Pantry Plus and more to get them emergency food assistance or coats and hats and boots. They're very comfortable with us helping make referrals for them.
Good. I just want to make sure the families understood that we don't
Yes.
need them hiding anything, because, you know, you're
Yes.
there to help.
Yes, no, we
Good.
do not want to ever present ourselves as punitive
Good.
in any manner.
Very good.
Ms. Jones, thank you for your presentation. Can you talk a little bit about the waitlisted children? I noticed there's a pretty high number for early Head Start. Are these children that we just don't have the funds to help right now?
We're required to have a wait list because we have to remain fully enrolled at all times. So we have had a wait list year after year. Sometimes those wait lists can look very large. We've had years where we've been in the 60s, 65 to almost 70 families waiting services. It is based upon the funding allocation from the federal government. They are only funding us right now for 120 children. So I wish I could service them all, because it breaks my heart to say we don't have space right now. But I have asked several times about an expansion. It's just, when you look across the country, so many programs are actually like cutting their Head Start because they do not have enough children participating. So we are very fortunate that we, meet our funded enrollment plus. We do have that healthy wait list. And as children turn 3 years of age, the progression is that they transition into a pre-K classroom. So as a family transitions, then we transition another family in.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to say, please thank your team, because I know I've met most of your team, so they do a great job. You have a good team
Thank
going
you.
there.
Thanks.
Thank you, Debbie.
Okay, next up, opioid funding follow-up.
Board members, you remember a couple months ago, we came to you with a request for support in us seeking some of the opioid settlement money that was released throughout the state of West Virginia. And you gave us the green light on that. And so this evening, we want to update you on what we've been doing as follow-up to that. And our deputy superintendent's going to provide that update.
Thank you. Because again, more than a year ago, when we received notification of monies being allocated for the opioid crisis, they were allocated, of course, to a greater organization here, the West Virginia First Foundation, and we had reached out, and this board had written a letter asking for consideration. We also wrote a letter to the county commission at that time. Now, I've never gotten a response. The board has not received a response from that request. But we did, at least from John Board, get a notification of a grant that is out there. And I wanted you to have a copy of this grant. First of all, we think it's excellent. I want to thank Susan Taylor, who is our person that does the community engagement, because this truly is community engagement, and the opportunity to present this. We worked with a partner to make sure we met all the grant writing specifics, because that's an art to write a grant, and I think this one certainly hit all the marks. So a lot of extra effort from Nicole, from Jennifer, and certainly from the few of us that were involved in this final application. A letter, again, signed by Mr. Kelly, and this board was part of the application. Now, as you can imagine, it's a large request. You can see it, almost $89,000. And what would it do for us? Well, it truly would possess an outreach through our after-school programming to our families, through our students. And I believe truly that that is the best outreach anyone could possibly make, is to be able to get that avenue of connection through our families. So again, we have been very proactive over the years in having after-school programs at our elementary schools. We've expanded. We were the recipient of a 21st Century grant when another local organization closed its doors and the state had allocated funding. So they came to us and asked us if we would want that funding. Well, of course, the short answer was yes. And we initiated a program at University High at the time. It's still ongoing, called U-Time. We started a program at Mountaineer Middle, which is running very well right now. And we are starting something called Prime Time over at Westwood, which I'm very excited about right now. South also opened its doors last year to an after-school program, and it is very successful. We know that those middle years, and with the dismissal time of middle schools, I think our parents have been very supportive of this opportunity for their students. We want to magnify that opportunity, and through this grant, we believe we could do that. Again, it would expand the program to all of our middle and high schools, which we would love to be able to do. It would include an addition of a teacher, a counselor, transportation, and we would pilot it this spring. Now, the award date on this is on or before December 31st. There is a lot of competition, a lot of competition. So they didn't give us, strong encouragement that, if you write it, we'll fund it. But they did encourage us to apply, which we wanted to take full advantage of. And I think you can see, if you look through that, you will see it is excellently done. It has all of the required pieces to that. And certainly we're excited that we could produce this in conjunction with a partner that helped us write this. So I think it's a strong nomination, and I would like to see us continue on this path of trying to do outreach through our after-school programming. We're not asking for money through the Board of Education. We are asking for money to go through these programs in whatever avenue that would be acceptable to the groups that are putting the money forward here. But without a doubt, we need to reach families. And it's what you just heard from the Head Start presentation here. The needy families that are there are just coming to us at every level, starting with early Head Start into pre-K, and that is where we see a tremendous need for our own interventions at that time, as well as something that could be offered after school. So just wanted to give you a quick update on that.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Can I ask, has this also been sent to the county commission?
It has not.
I would suggest doing that.
Okay.
I feel like their attitude has been that they don't want public discussion of how to spend that money, but at the same time, we have a very strong plan here.
Yes, we do.
I think that showing them that we have a strong plan and how we would spend that money, maybe that's what they're looking for.
Okay. I would be happy to move
Yeah.
that.
Any other comments? I kind of chuckled when you said we would apply anyway, and over the last 20 years, how many times we apply, and then we apply, and then the third time we get it. So kudos to you, because I know it's always been persistence, and it's been great. Okay, next item, Dr. Campbell, is student expulsion.
Yes, unfortunately, board members, I bring to you this evening two recommendations. The first is student expulsion 3, 2024-25. This is for distribution of a controlled substance. Superintendent recommends that the board expel student A for a period of 365 days.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Can't discuss a whole lot, but Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Next is student expulsion 4, 2024-25. This is for a second offense, possession of controlled substance. Superintendent recommends that the board approve a 365-day expulsion.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We've already done the change order, so the next thing is new contracts. This is an interesting one that Dr. Campbell and I have talked about a while. So, Dr. Campbell,
All
it's
right,
yours.
I do have one new contract that I would like the board to approve this evening. This is with the USDA PHIS Wildlife Services. You can see the content in your executive file. The superintendent recommends the board approve that contract as presented this evening.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Is this our get rid of the ducks?
These are
Geese.
Canadian geese.
Canadian geese.
Yes, but
Ducks.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I know a lot of happy people
Yes.
after tonight.
we do have several schools that have been impacted heavily by our migratory Canadian geese. And as everyone knows, that we can't take this on ourselves because they are protected wildlife. So with the services of our federal government, we will enter into a contract to have them help us eradicate the geese as humanely as possible.
Or relocate.
We don't mind the geese, we just don't like their food.
Well, the reason I chuckle with this is our property we have out on Goshen Road. I'd send him a picture. We had 92 geese. We have a pond and several acres. There was 92 geese there. So I know when they rid them from the schools, guess where they're going to wind up?
You can have them, just come bring your truck.
Yeah, it's
We'll round them
they
up.
are interesting, fascinating. The stuff that we found out from the beginning about these things is pretty neat. But okay, anyway, as we move on, we will take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you for that.
Dr. Campbell is consent agenda.
We do have an accounts payable addendum item that we need to deal with before we get to consent. And
I mean, where am I? So one of these I gotta leave.
that's
This one?
that's this
That's
one.
what I was
sir.
gonna say,
Yeah.
where. All right. So you gonna pull it out, or you wanna do them all?
It's already out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There, now it's moving. My touch was slipping there, but I need to remove myself from this vote because I have a business connection with this vendor. So I'll ask our vice president to handle that for me.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I need to make a
Oh, sorry.
recommendation.
You
You're
looked
on.
at me.
Yeah. Superintendent recommends that the board approve accounts payable addendum A as presented.
Sorry, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, or any conversation about that? All in favor?
Aye.
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 You wanna knock? I know you've been dying.
Thank you. Been dying.
It's the little things.
Just, That's the whole reason I ran next time.
Thank you, Ms. Haggerty. Now we have the consent agenda.
Superintendent recommends that the board approve the consent agenda as presented this evening to include item A, expenditures exceeding $3,000, item B, the supplements and transfers, item C, the payment of salaries and accounts payable, item D is our Clay Battelle SRO agreement, item E is our UHS SRO agreement, item F is the Keith Matheny agreement, item G are our minutes from October 8th, 2024, regular board meeting. Item H is the early Head Start monthly reports. Item I is the Head Start monthly reports. And I do believe that covers everything.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Down here.
Nope. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We have board member updates.
I have an update from my service on the Extension Service Committee. They're doing interviews next week for the new Mon County agent. The candidates look great. I'm really excited to see their presentations next week, and so I will keep you posted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll have one next meeting. We meet this week.
Okay. Well, if anybody saw the headlines in the newspaper, the MPO was been wrangling with the traffic control devices at the exit 155. Hopefully, like from best we understand, the upper management has agreed to them. So at some point, we'll have some traffic control devices so our buses can make that left turn, and everybody else going to Mile
And
Bar.
everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Nope. All right. Personnel matters. Oh, I'm sorry, skipped one, policy review.
Jennifer, what do we have under policy review this evening?
I'm currently loading in the library some new draft policies for the board to look at. You can start looking at them now. There should be some. It's not complete, but as soon as it is, I'll have Teresa send an email to the board members so you're aware.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll just dump into you again.
Very good. First is our personnel list. I have no changes to the regular personnel list this evening. Superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel list as presented.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. New positions?
We have none being requested this evening.
Very good. Personnel list addendum?
I have no changes to the addendum. Superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel list addendum as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay, next board meeting. Somebody help me there.
Tuesday, November 12th.
12th, November 12th, Tuesday, November 12th. We're good? Adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gamble.